And we are back. It's your man Odell, aka Artbyodell, and we are joined by my special guest. Let me just give this brother a brief introduction. I gotta set him up for the people, right? So, he's a brother whose parents hail from Nigeria, came over to the states, lives through the southern states, little Louisiana, but really made his name in Nashville, right? So, after being in Nashville, he decided after he graduating, because he's a proud Tennessee State alum,
Absolutely.
proud Tennessee State alum. Now he came out and he didn't wait around for the perfect gig. He picked his camera up and started hitting the Nashville night scene, shooting all the different clubs, different events. Right, kept on his grind. Then he migrated to Atlanta and did the same thing. He didn't wait around. He picked his camera up and got on his grind and got started. Then the thing was, though, he had the aspirations of doing media and journalism and things like that. He never lost track of that, right? So he started working with some of the sites. I think it was like Fans Favorite.
Fans favorite fan.
Fans Favorite Fan. Started working with sites like that, and it's kept going, kept producing, right? And then to now to the point where he's the current managing editor for the Atlanta Voice.
Correct.
Okay, so he's doing his thing. Listen, he is now someone who basically went from watching sporting events, in sports bars and couches, to now actually sitting on the sidelines to whether it be the Super Bowl, whether it be Atlanta United, the NFL draft. Listen, without further ado, I want to introduce my friend Itoro, a.k.a. Picturemane.
Odell, thanks for having me.
What's going on with you, brother?
Man, nothing much. Just enjoying, the weather's breaking in Atlanta.
Yeah,
and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
It's that time of the
situation
year.
out here.
It's that time of the year, man. Listen, it's funny because we talk about, having a background from Nigeria, right, and coming over and being in the South, right?
Right.
How did all of that kind of shape your ideas towards sports and media?
I think the biggest thing, I will have this started from where, just growing up. I think my one thing my parents instilled in me was work ethic.
Okay.
You have to hustle, you have to work. You can love whatever you want to love, you can love anything, but it's not mean. But the love ain't meaningful unless you hustle and work for it.
Okay.
And earn it every day. So from a young age, like my parents taught me, like if you want something, you love something, you got to work for it and go after it. So there were plenty of times where my parents would work Thanksgiving,
Right.
Christmas, New
Okay.
Year's, Easter, Mother's Day, where everybody's parents would be home and with everybody. All my family will all be like, oh, my mom's working. She's 12-hour shift. Dad's working 3 jobs or whatever.
So it kind of set a precedent for you.
So it just set a precedent. Like, listen, like you're not, like nobody's above putting in the work. You know what I mean? So that was the whole thing, that was instilled, growing up. And then it just carried into my college years,
Right.
Tennessee State.
Well, going. It's when you said to you segued for me because going to Tennessee State, right? Let's look at that because here you are. You graduate Tennessee State. Now you graduate with a business degree, right?
Business degree.
And then like a minor, I guess, in mass comm.
Correct.
But the thing is that like with everything, right? Like you walk across that stage, you get that degree, and I don't know. I can't speak for you, but I know even for myself. I'm thinking I'm just gonna walk out there, just walk right into becoming like this well-known artist, or walk right into like a museum or something like that. But I think reality is when it hits you that like, okay, wait a minute. Now that I've graduated, now the work really starts. Like even though I just put in all this time, now like the work really starts. How was that for you, man?
I think for me, when I graduated, at that point, I knew photography was gonna be a hobby.
Okay.
If for nothing else, something I can do on the weekends.
Okay.
While having, while working for a couple years, then going back and getting the MBA.
Okay.
And then ascending the corporate ladder. But while ascending the corporate ladder, keeping photography is like this is my outlet.
Right,
This
like
is the
not
thing.
not losing that.
Not losing that hobby,
Okay.
you know. But I felt like at that moment when I graduated, I felt like my ultimate dream was, to talk mergers and acquisitions on CNBC. Have the
Okay.
suit on 5 days a week,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
somewhere in New York or somewhere in somebody's like Charles Schwab or somebody like that, Barclays or something.
Okay.
Talking mergers, acquisitions, and
Yeah,
bond
yeah,
markets
yeah.
and stuff, because I really like that stuff. I still do.
Right.
But where it turned for me, while I was working with my boys, we were doing parties and stuff in Nashville. And,
Yeah.
That's a whole rabbit hole of a story right there.
Right.
But what turned for me was when I attended Fashion Week in 2008.
The one in New York?
The one in New York, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fall Fashion Week, February 2008. I was working for a health insurance company in Nashville at the time.
Okay.
But I took a solid 3 days and went to New
That
York.
PTO life. Well, I know about it.
I took like PTO and I was like, yo, I'm going to New York. Like,
Right.
like, I want to see what this is about.
You want to experience it firsthand.
Absolutely. So I had a Canon Rebel that I bought from like Best Buy.
Okay.
It's like a $500 camera.
Okay.
And I took like a MacBook and I just listened to, It's Mine by Mobb Deep over and over and over on my iPod. Right?
You're getting your mind right.
I'm getting it all together. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on the subway, leaving Jamaica, Queens, because Jamaica on the E train, I think it is.
It's
like
it's Herb talk right here. This is H talk right here. See.
When I'm with Jamaica is the last stop on the line, so you got a lot to think about. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going into the city, and me and my friend Tatiana Johnson. Shout out to you, Tat. I love you. We did these 3 go-sees.
Okay.
And I'm meeting designers and photographers and writers and journalists.
Okay.
And this is what they all do for a living. And I got inspired. I'm like, yo, maybe this media thing could be more than a hobby.
Listen, real quick, I was going to add on to that because that's so true. A lot of times with different things. I mean, I've had the similar story, working in corporate America and, media just kind of radio being a love and a passion. But then, shout out to my brother Jay Force being able to allow me to go to different events. And when you start going to these events and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Like, oh, this is a taste. Like, you get a little taste of it. It's hard to go back, man. So I totally get what you're saying with that, man. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just, and I was literally like, I had no hotel room. I was just crashing.
I was just winging it.
I had places to stay. Like I knew, I knew my homegirl Shannon. She let me crash on her couch in Jersey. When her man was away, she let me, crash on the couch. And then my friend Kamari, she was working for a major TV network at the time. She let me crash in Queens when Shannon kicked me out. I knew what it was.
Well, but the thing is, too, I think one of the things you're saying as well, and a lot of people I hope they pick up on, is that, if you really have a passion for something, a lot of times once you decide that you're going to go ahead and do it, everything else will kind of fall into place.
Once you declare your intentions.
Yeah, once you declare the intent, like you told yourself, I'm going to New York Fashion Week, everything else can figure itself out.
Like not just only that, but for me, it was like, when I get there, what am I going to do? What do I want to accomplish when I'm there? Like, I knew, like, when I get to New York, these are the 5 things I want to do. I want to take a photo in front of a subway sign.
Right.
I'm a Southerner.
Right.
I'm a Southerner.
Yeah.
But I've had this love affair in New York since I was a little kid.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, this is something I got to do.
Right.
Take a picture in front of the subway sign, number 1. Number 2, go to, because I grew up a Yankees fan. I grew up a Yankees fan. So guess what I also had to do? I went to Modell's.
A lot of head nodding going over there,
I
H.
had to get the fitted. I had to do what I needed to do.
Right.
The third thing personal stuff aside, the third thing I had to do, I had to make sure that I passed out as many business cards as I could.
Yeah, get your hustle on network. Yeah.
Me and my homie Tatiana, we had a thing called Culture Shock Magazine.
Okay.
You know, way back in the day when she was at Middle Tennessee State University, which is about 30 miles southeast of Nashville.
MTSU. Okay.
And I was at Tennessee State. So we would congregate in her apartment and we would just strategize, like while listening to music.
Okay, I
We
got
put
you.
the plan together.
Putting the
We say
plan together.
we're gonna hit 4 designers. You're gonna hit 4 designers. I'm gonna hit 3. She met a designer I'm gonna name later on, and ultimately, like, where the chips fall is because we put in the work and we met people. And
As we talk about on the roundtable, building those real life relationships, man.
absolutely. So ultimately, she meets Zach Posen,
Okay.
who got the final. At that point, he didn't blow up yet. This was 2008. He
Okay.
was percolating, but then like Diddy wore his clothes and he was out of here.
Okay.
And then she got put on, and then she helped me get, further my hustle.
Right. Get your
Yeah,
ground game.
yeah. So my ground game got official at that point. So yeah.
Well, listen, all of that, man, that is a lot, and I really hope people appreciate that, because we often talk about, putting that work in from a ground level, and it's hard sometimes because you don't see the immediate benefits, but you got to keep chugging along because eventually something will blow. I want to talk about, regardless of, speaking of, just media, fashion, sports, things like that. Like at one moment, there was a time, right, when you basically only had like a few giants when it came to like sports media and just certain entertainment conglomerates. But like we're in a time now, man, where you're looking at, numerous networks, a lot of great sites, a lot of ways of people being able to
In the industry, they say different modes of entry.
there you go. But also too, I think just, for black folks to be able to tell our stories about especially sports and fashion from our own terms. Talk about the whole independent sports and media scene right now.
There hasn't been a time in history where we haven't seen anything quite like this. We have got, you have a computer, you take pictures, you pull up somewhere. If you have a nice polo on, it's like, oh, this guy, he might be, who do you work for?
Right.
And then you announce yourself. It's like, yeah, my name is Donnell, and I work for Company A.
Right.
Company A belongs to me, so I work for myself. And it's like the empowerment we have today is unbelievable.
That's very
You know
true,
what I'm saying? And I think it's a great thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's inspiring, and it shows people that, you can create your own. You can create your own while you're building that path or paving that road for yourself to where you want to get to.
That's true.
I've seen so many people come through or enter the business because, they may have had like somebody co-sign them, or somebody was like, nah, no one speaks for me, so therefore I'm gonna speak for myself. Or you may have had others who be like, well, you know what? This is a great hobby. I love talking about sports. I love talking politics. So therefore, let me just, set my iPhone up right here and just go in for 20 minutes.
Just get started, yeah.
Just get started. And literally, I say all that to say, if you just want to get into it, just jump right in. Just dive right in. We all have smartphones.
Yeah.
We all have cloud accounts.
Yeah.
So we have no excuses for, well, I ain't got to know. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have this. I ain't got that.
Yeah.
For anybody that's filming, while we on this topic,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you just one key.
Go ahead.
Record when it's cloudy outside. The light is more even on a cloudy day rather than a sunny day. So if you record anything on location or shoot on location, shoot on a cloudy day Film
Okay.
on a cloudy day.
Okay.
The light is more even. It's less harsh.
Well, also too, I mean, I love that what you're saying because it is so true. It's like a lot of times we think we're gonna ask for permission or you wait for a sign, but it's not. You're right. This is a matter of you jumping right in and getting started. And so, going to my next question on the roundtable, we talk about relationships, right, and building relationships and life relationships. And it's funny how we met because we met through a mutual friend. Shout out to Ashley, A plus
Ashley, what up?
But it's just ironic because I always laugh about the encounter because I think we met, and then my friend Curtis from Footy Mob, we all met up for like a Champions League final
Absolutely.
and watched the game. And I bring that up too because we sat around and we ate and we laughed, and we talked and watched the game, but we also were networked and brainstormed. And I remember thinking back because another friend came with me, Wade, and I was like, it's kind of rare that you meet somebody like their first meeting and you're sitting there and you're discussing, you're brainstorming, and you're getting tips and things like that. Where did that, because not everybody has it in this business. They don't have that art of collaborating, of community, things like that. How did that come about, and what sparked that?
I think the way I first learned it was when I hung out with Black Rob, my man DJ Crisis,
Okay.
my man Tez, who's now an author. When we collaborated on parties in Nashville. That's where I first learned the principle.
Okay.
We didn't really call it collaboration or anything. It was more like, hey, bro, we got to meet.
Right, let's meet up.
Like we gotta put things on the table right now. Like we didn't really have a fancy name for it or anything.
Right.
So that's kind of how I learned. While we together, if we put all these things on the table instead of just holding back and just waiting to text somebody
Or wait so you can show off that they didn't know how to do this or something.
Absolutely. And then when I came to Atlanta in 2011, it was more like okay, everything had to be okay. We finna meet somewhere, be it a coffee house, or the soccer or the football pub or the sports bar,
right,
or like here, Castleberry Hill, like we'll go to like some dive bar and be like, hey, let's have some drinks and let's just talk.
Right. Actually talk about manifesting some stuff, man.
Absolutely. And it always helps to manifest things and talk about things whenever you have liquor in the midst. Because
it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
It only helps.
It only helps, man. But I laugh about that because that is so true. I mean, that's how we met. Just collaborating, to shout out. And then what's ironic too, right, is us sitting, you look back on that, you look at all the things that you're doing. You look at all the things that Curtis and Footy Mob are doing. You look at all the things that Ashley is doing. I mean, I'm not going to pick up myself too much, but I'm trying, the things that I was aspiring for. And it's ironic, like you said, we was no holding back, was no like, hey, I'm not gonna let him know. Like, we were like putting it on the table. How can I assist you? How can I help you? I was like, we were telling Curtis from Footy Mob, how can we help you? How we can help each other? And it's just really cool to see all that. Listen, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk some more. We're definitely gonna talk about Nashville. I love the city of Nashville. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about how you put a lot of these things together. Talk about also politics and everything. So listen, stay tuned. It's your boy Odell with Itoro. Odell's Roundtable. Be right back.